Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading. Well, we've got a card flying out already. We will take it. This will be your weekly reading for the week of April 27th through May 3rd. And during that time, we will have a new moon. And that's a really good time for a fresh start and new beginnings, a time to learn a new skill or start any new work, or even to make new decisions. We will then also move into the waxing crescent energy. And that's a time where you can really buckle down and get to work on those new things that you've just started. So it's a time when you're trying to live up to your expectations and your intentions. So please keep those moon energies in mind as you move through your week. Also, this will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter this week, Capricorn. So please take what resonates here today and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message card that came flying right out is your commitment is being tested. All right, let's see what the Capricorn Collective has going on this week. Well, if my cards want to shuffle, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And Capricorn, I will say that since my readings are free to you, all I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button. It really, really helps my channel, and I would appreciate that so much. It's super easy for you to do. So I'll give you just a moment right now to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so, so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you for coming back and helping me build a community here. I see you and I appreciate you. So thank you so much. Also, my weekly reminder this week is that you take time to meditate today. Go within, still yourself, quiet your mind, and explore. If you already do this, then you know what I'm talking about. If meditation is not something that you practice, today is just a really, really good day for you to start. So even if it's just a few minutes, take that few minutes for yourself and start working that into your daily routine. All right, Capricorn, April 27th through May 3rd, your commitment is being tested. Let's see what's going on with you guys. All right, your overall message card is the Star. So, the Star is a card of the night, of course. It's a card about having a direction and being on course with that direction, just kind of, being drawn to something and having that feeling like, they say some things are written in the stars. It's kind of your, a destiny thing, or you're kind of guided to something and you're not even quite sure why. But it is a card of that sort of direction and having the clarity of that kind of direction. So pay attention to those things this week. And again, it could be, because this is a card of night, it could be something that has been hidden from you in the darkness for a while. And all of a sudden something is revealed and it's just the tiniest little path on something. But go ahead and, have your eyes open for those this week and follow that, because that's what you're being called to do. Your current situation is the Six of Wands. So, you're coming into this new sense of direction and this new sense of heading in this other direction because of some little success that you've had here. This isn't like a huge success, but it's something, it's like you're being recognized for something that you've done, and you've done it very well. And you're feeling very confident in that right now. At the root of your situation is the Nine of Cups. So not only are you feeling confident, but you're also feeling a little bit, this is like a little bit of satisfaction. And this would, give you kind of time to reward yourself and indulge a little bit. And that's great. So you're just sitting in this super positive energy of like, you've just been through something that, and for some people, like I almost get the feeling like you graduated from college, or you've graduated from a training program, or there's something that you've accomplished. That's the kind of energy, and that you're going to say, hey, I'm going to pat myself on the back and I get this little reward. I get this, we're going to go on this little vacation because of it. Or, just there's some way in which you're rewarding yourself for a job well done. And congratulations. I feel great for you, Capricorn. In your recent past is the King of Cups. So as you've been going through whatever this time in your recent past, you've been very emotionally balanced about it. And again, I use graduation as an example, but tarot is a template. It could be so many things for so many different Capricorns, but Capricorns are very goal oriented. You guys set a goal and you go for it. And I'm sure that you do reward yourself once you get there and get to that goal. And whatever you've just been through, you've been very, very emotionally balanced, and not only in your emotions, but also in considering everyone around you. So that's very, very nice. What's on your mind this week are all the different choices here with the Seven of Cups. So, as you have the success and go through this, um, again, here is the Star card, this card of something is going to point you in a direction. And you've got all these choices in front of you right now. And maybe, I always say that choice is a luxury. When you have all those different choices, that's a big luxury in life. Some people are not afforded those kind of choices or aren't in a place yet in their life where they can have that many choices. And I say, the better your life, the more choices you have. So we're all trying to get to that place where we're getting better and getting better so that you have more choices. The usually the younger you are, the less choices you have. You're just starting off, you can only live in a certain place because you can afford this amount of rent. As you get deeper into your career and you're making more money, your choices become better. So but you are going to be faced with some choices. These are on your mind, and something in the Star card, there's been something kind of hidden from you, probably in these choices that you are going to choose and kind of follow. And you may not even really understand why, but your choices, because of this success or this recent accomplishment, those choices are opening up for you. What is just ahead of you? Well, well, here comes the devil. Just when we're feeling confident and feeling really great. And now, because this card, I was looking at that and thinking, well, where's your commitment being tested? But here it is. And this, I believe, is your commitment to yourself is going to be tested. You've got this confidence, and here comes, I see the devil card, and like it's kind of like the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other. And the devil, you're feeling confident and satisfied in this thing, and you've got all these choices, and the devil comes in and says, hello, you what choices? I don't know why you would make that choice. That's not the right choice. This is all that fear, you're not going to be good at that thing if you go down that path. You're going to fail. You're not going to be able to do that. This is that devil on your shoulder that leads to false truths. It leads to fear of failure. It leads to fears that shouldn't even exist there, but they're just kind of in your ear. So pay attention to that. And I believe, is this not the card of Capricorn? Is this not your card? This is, you know, uh, this is kind of being unforgiving on yourself. So give yourself a little bit of grace this week, but don't let yourself get distracted with these choices, or don't get distracted with this devil card that comes at you to kind of throw you off the path of this, this little success that you've been having, and this could also, for some of you, this could be like a dependency coming in, something that you feel like you've conquered, and all of a sudden the devil's like, here I am. So we are going to really, really work hard to kind of ignore this guy, right? We don't want to rock your confidence at this point. In your advice position is, how are we going to do that? With inner strength. It's the only way to do it, is to pull from your place of inner strength to fight off those voices, to fight off, that thing that's telling you that you can't do something, or something putting some previous addiction or something in your path. And that could be, of course, some chemical, but it could be a person. People can be addicted to people too. Make sure that that devil isn't like pushing someone in your path from your past. I've been called to say that for some of you, that you know exactly what I'm talking about. If that person is one of these choices, you know better. You know better already. Use your inner strength. What is beyond your control this week is, yeah, that you're about to end something. You're ending something and moving right into the beginning of something. We've got a 9 here, a 10 here. You're just being, in fact, what is the 6, 7? Where was I? Did I see an 8 there? 6, 7. I thought I had an 8. Anyway, 9, 10. So, is that an 8? Anyway, you're being moved to some ending here, but with all these choices, don't let the devil interrupt the choices that you need to be making. All right. What is your secret desire? What you're trying to avoid is the Knight of Wands. So here comes our action. Here comes our action with passion, and are you trying to avoid taking some sort of action here when you do make a choice? Are you trying to avoid taking the action, or is it your secret desire? And of course, this is probably up to this devil card and this inner strength here. And if you're not able to use that inner strength, then yeah, you're not going to be your most confident. So this is kind of your big question of the week. Is it your secret desire to move forward in this thing with full confidence? This horse is ready to go. You're plowing forward. Or are you trying to avoid it because you've got this devil in your ear? You can't do that. Shaking your confidence. Don't let your confidence be shaken this week. Use this inner strength card to get through that. In the outcome position here for you is the Five of Cups. So, I see Five of Cups come out when we have endings. Hang on, let me grab a drink. Because with endings bring new beginnings, but they also bring a little, there's a modicum of sadness that comes in when you have an ending and you're moving towards a new beginning. And it's not always a bad thing. And I see this like, I used the example earlier is if you're graduating, let's say you're graduating from college or from some program, there's probably people there that you've met and, you've grown to enjoy spending time with. And now everybody's going to part ways and go their different directions. And that's a little sad. So with those new beginnings, I mean, say this is starting a new job for you. Yeah, there's people at your old job that you're like, oh, I'm going to miss that person. We used to enjoy laughing every morning, or we would go to lunch occasionally, or I'm going to miss that person, or I'm going to miss the atmosphere in which I was in. So I feel like that's what this sadness is being caused by, is that you're being pushed into this change, into this new direction, and there's just a little bit of that wistful sadness for the way things were, because some of those things were nice. What's being hidden from you this week is your past and kind of enjoying the fruits of your labor. You're not quite there yet. You're at a place, you're celebrating and you're moving forward and you're making choices, and you're not quite relaxed yet. I feel like this is a very active week for you, and your commitment is being tested, and I feel like that commitment is to you and to this thing that you're wanting to push forward with, and it's being tested because of this devil. Do not let him test you out of it, right? Make sure that you're conquering that test with your inner strength. All right, let's get a final word here for Capricorn, April 27th through May 3rd. Final word from the Soul Oracle deck, face your shadow, which that's something we all have to do. So, and what that means is, look at your inner fears and look at those inner fears deeply. And that's what this devil, why are they there? Why do they even exist? Why aren't you moving forward in full confidence? What are you afraid of? And why? Why, most importantly? And when you do that kind of work and shadow work about those, we all have to do it. It's those dark things that are inside of us. And maybe you don't even know why. So you may need to go back, and I was telling another reading that I just did. To do that kind of work is to look at the fear that's coming up for you and try to remember the very first time you ever felt that fear. And many times that's in childhood. And you can go back and heal that child fear, and it kind of moves you forward. And once you start facing that and facing your shadow and doing that sort of work, those fears don't come up anymore. And you're not faced with that anymore. You're faced with new things, but that specific fear, that's how you kind of alchemize and work on those shadow parts of yourself. All right, another card here from the Soul Oracle deck, tune out distractions. And that's probably going to be here with all of those different choices. That's hard to do when you're faced with a lot of choices, but tuning out distractions could just be just sitting down when you've got all those choices to make, just write it out, pros, cons. Look, if you've got 7 different choices of different things you could choose, you really just need to kind of narrow that down and do that kind of work. And maybe that's also where your commitment is being tested, and that's your commitment to yourself and your commitment to the success in your future, and take that time. If there's choices there, you need to narrow things down and understand why you're making those choices, right? So, Capricorn, I really appreciate your time here with me today. Don't let this devil get to you this week. It just use that inner strength and you can get through this. You can power through all of these things that you're going through. I mean, it seems like there's a little bit of chaos in your week, but you're in a good place. You're coming from a place of some success and feeling, very satisfied. You're going to indulge yourself a little bit, but here comes the all of those choices, and there's something coming out of the darkness that's going to lead you into this new direction, and you can be on course, and I love that for you. So, Capricorn, I really appreciate your time here with me today. I do hope there was something you can take away and use. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, leave me a comment down below and let me know what it is that you're going through. um, Also, I do post weekly readings, so come back next week. We'll see if this energy continues and if the story continues to unfold. If there's something, there might be something completely new here for you next week. So, also, if you like my reading style, of course, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. And most importantly, it'll help you find me next week. So, Capricorn, thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.